Education, as is said, is the most powerful weapon anyone can use to change the world. Let's put this in our context. We spend years equipping our minds to develop not only ourselves, but also our country. Tonight, we want to have a non-partisan discussion on our education sector in an attempt to answer the questions surrounding the primary school and senior high school curricula. But first, listen to what the Education Minister said recently.
The curriculum that will appear for the junior high school will lead to a national higher diploma, where when you finish senior high school, you get a national diploma. It is not everybody who must go to university straight, but we must prepare our kids for the world of work. And that national diploma will ensure that our kids can go straight to work. If somebody could go with a middle school leaving certificate into the army, why can somebody can't go now with a senior high school diploma into work? Why should going into the military, the police, the immigration, the civil service be asking A1 to C6? And also free. We should be asking, where is our national diploma? And that should be good enough that anybody who has passed and has a certificate with a national diploma should be able to be employed, provided we have prepared that person.
Well, so this statement seems to have erupted a lot of concern, especially from the teacher unions who believe government has sidelined them when it comes to policies in the education sector. Listen to government's swift response to the issue in a statement issued on Monday, and it says the minister's comments have been misrepresented and taken out of context. Well, that's all right, but the fact remains that governments over the years have literally played games with our education system, each one outdoing the other in scoring political points. This battle for supremacy has put us in checkmate on the chessboard of the education sector. We'll talk more about that statement in the course of our conversation we'll have in a bit here. But the teacher unions have also been talking. President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Angel Kabonu, has stated that a change in JHS and SHS certificates does not add any value to our education system. According to him, stakeholders should concentrate on adding rich content to the educational system and stop playing politics with it. He spoke exclusively to our reporter, Evelyn Araba-Iju.
The secondary school does not train people to go and work. The tertiary institutions are supposed to train people to go and work. You know, that is where what you are talking about should come, not at the secondary school level. A change in certificate, I don't know what it does. Because you can even call the senior high school degree. But if it is not degree, nobody recognizes it as such. You can call it diploma. If it is not diploma, nobody recognizes it as such. So I think that we should just push aside the issue of certificate calling and rather concentrate on content enrichment. We have to enrich the content to give us education that we need to solve our current problems. And that is one of the reasons why we are not progressing in this country.
Are we playing politics with our education?
Absolutely, yes. We play politics with our education in Ghana. A lot of politics with our education in Ghana. And that is one of the reasons why we are not progressing in this country. When government changes, people are changing, even technocrats, knowledgeable people, experienced hands. People come with their own ideas, thinking that their ideas are the best. After some time, they are also moved out and new people come. Policies are brought. You recall the 3-year, 4-year issue, and so on and so forth. Politics is destroying our education in this country. Let professionals run education in Ghana.
Well, so like I said, this conversation we're about to have seeks to know the best way possible to achieve the best of education for us here in the country. In fact, a politics-proof system that can stand the test of time. In the studio with me is the president of the Concerned Coalition of Concerned Teachers, and his name is King Ali. And also with me in the studio is MP for Akachi. He's also on the Education Committee in Parliament, Peter Nochu. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for making it here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to start with you, because you were a teacher, King. Is there a problem with our education system, or the rest of us are putting ourselves in an overdrive?
No, there is clearly a problem. And the problem is that successive governments have tried to bring out policy. There weren't any other major educational reform until the Anambra Menses Committee of 2007. That came to also try to change certain things. But if you look at the Anambra Menses Committee and report, and you look at the Evans Amfum Committee's report, the Anambra Menses Committee was by the former president, John Ejekum Kufuor, and then the Evans Amfum one was by His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings. Now, if you look at the two reports by the two different committees, you realize that there weren't much difference. For example, in the 1987 report, the basic school, which is primary and GHS, was supposed to be 9 years. Then in the Anambra Mensa, they introduced 2 years preschool, making the basic education to become 11 years, so that Ghanaian children will start their basic level from KG1, KG2 before going to class 1.
Okay.
Then the name JSS was changed to JHS. Now, what it means is that technically we are basically on the same path, but it appears that any government that wins power would like to do something to signal to the people out there that they are also there doing something in education.
So we haven't been able to separate politics from our education.
Exactly.
We would appear indecisive.
Exactly.
But honorable,
let me end with this. We need to sit down decisively as a country and have a proper, constructive policy on how we are going to man education in this country and how we are going to train our people.
We'll look at that in a bit. But honorable, would we be right if we say that over the years, yourself and your colleagues have dilly-dallied with our education system?
Yeah, thank you very much. Education, like any other sector, is dynamic. There are bound to be changes, looking at developments that have been going on over the years. So you can't remain at one place forever. You need to put in some innovations to make it relevant to the present day needs of the society. So as you rightly said, these committees or commissions were set up. But basically, they are all, or both of them were on the same line, except for 1 year difference
we didn't achieve whatever you said in your preamble with regards to changing our system to tally with the times.
Yeah, we have done something to that effect. Now, if you look at the system that he was talking about, you spent a lot of time in school. Okay. You have to finish the primary school, then you go to middle school. If we are lucky, Form 2, you go to secondary school. Do you see it? Then by the time you graduate, you would have been about 25 years. If you went to Form 3 before going to secondary school, you would have graduated around 26. Then if you finish the Form 4 before going to secondary school, you would have finished around 27.
I get that.
Do you see?
So what we have
there
done,
was the need.
What we have done is check the amount of time we spent in school without necessarily checking the quality of education we are given.
No, I would disagree.
Okay.
Because it was felt that what was happening at the time, you see, because of the colonial system that we inherited. Yes, in those days when we had the middle school, they were training people for the government office. Do you see it? So anybody who attended middle Form 4 at that time will be employed in the civil service to work. Yeah, but with time, there was the need to change so that at least we could have everybody could have a secondary education.
Why?
There was the need for it.
When you say there was the need for it, you mean that there was the need for a lot more people to go and sit in the classroom than there was the need for people to be in vocational schools, perhaps?
No. You see that after middle school, many people could not continue. So some would just go either to the training college in those days or remain at home or look for white-collar job. Yeah, but you needed to improve upon the education. That was why the reform program came in 1987.
Is that not why we have more people for white-collar jobs than we actually have?
No, it was
the
because
jobs?
the system was not actually followed to the letter.
Okay.
Because if we had followed the reform program word to word, you would have realized that the technical and vocational aspect that was introduced would have helped our children to develop vocation.
I'm going to come back to you on that point, but I know you want to pass a few comments. While you do that, share with us also, in terms of quality of education, what do you teachers think that we should be adding to our system?
Thank you very much. You see, one of the biggest problems about the policymakers is that when they form the various committees or the commission to study the system and come out with new policies, they do forget that the new policies that they are bringing up requires introduction of new infrastructure, equipment, teaching and learning materials, laboratory equipment, in order for the committee's report and the things that they have recommended to be carried out to the latter. For example, when the JSS was introduced, there were workshop things and stuff attached to it. Now, some of the schools never get the workshop tools. And the schools that got the workshop tools too, the teachers that were supposed to teach these pupils in the carpentry, in the mason and wherever, did not receive the adequate in-service training in order for them to be able to handle the tools that they were even supposed to use to teach these students. In the 1987 educational reform, the idea was that if somebody leaves JSS, that particular person should be equipped enough to be able to go into any vocational or technical area by creating his or her own job.
Indeed.
So you realize that they were taught carpentry, they were taught masonry, and monies were spent to acquire a whole lot of gadgets, G-clamp, saw, and what have you. And some were sent to the schools. But the teachers themselves, who are supposed to teach the students how to use these things, were not given even the necessary training how to apply them.
But that hasn't changed, has it? You still do not have any form
and some of them remain in the boxes, they rusted away, some of them were stolen and what have you. Another example is that in the Anamwa Mensa Committee, for example, they recommended 2 years preschool without existing infrastructure that can accommodate crèche, because in Ghana, all that we knew was that preschool, nursery, KG and co was about the private sector. When you come to the public sector, those things weren't there. At the time that it was introduced, we did not have the adequate infrastructure that the children at those tender age could use the various skills and kits that they used to play and what have you. All those things were not there. So even today, as I speak to you, you will go to a lot of public schools that do not have the preschool attached. They still start admitting from Form 1. Because
from class 1.
From class 1. Because if they want to go back to KG1 and KG2, they simply do not have the requisite tools, the infrastructure, the teaching and learning material to do with it. That has always been the challenge. So we put things on paper without the necessary things to go with it.
And both of you seem to agree on that. I'll come back to that in a bit. But we have spoken about the fact that the changes that occurred in the past or in times gone were because we had to live up to the times of that moment. What are the times we live in now, and what do we need for our education sector?
You see, for example, that's why I'm saying that in Ghana, we are very good theoretically. Sitting down, brainstorming, and writing things on paper. You know that one of the things is the FKIP, the Free Compulsory Universal Basic Education. Now the question is that, how free is our current basic education? Currently, the Ghana Education Service has even realized that a lot of the basic schools are even charging fees that are even higher than the senior high schools that are free. So currently, GES have had a lot of release asking heads of basic schools to stop charging a whole lot of levies. Now, free compulsory universal basic education. The question is, has F-cube been well implemented? But it is in our laws. So why do we have a lot of school-going children on our street when the law says that they should compulsorily be in school, and we have documents to that effect? If we are able to implement all these things, education in Ghana will be very good. Okay. One of my biggest challenges is also that, what I said earlier, sometimes it is just about satisfying manifesto, like the 3-year, 4-year SHS system.
But we managed to give our young ones free education at the basic level. Haven't we managed to do that? Or it is not the kind of free that we're looking at?
It's not the kind of free that we are talking about. That's what I'm telling you, that
it's free, but they are paying.
Yes, they are paying. That is why currently the GES have issued a lot of, what we call a capitation grant. It was recently that it was increased a bit. Formerly, the capitation grant was nothing to write home about, such that when the money is paid to the schools at the end of the term or at the end of the month, it's simply not enough for the administrative processes of the school. And some of the head teachers are then forced to charge fees.
Honorable, I'll pose the same question to you. What are the times that we live in now, and how must our education system change to suit the times we have now?
Yeah, to take it from where he has stopped. With the F-cube, which is a provision in the Constitution, was to be implemented fully. But you still realize that we have children still at home or in the streets who are not in school. So we have faltered in that area by not implementing fully the F-cube.
Okay.
Now, but even if you go to the basic schools now, you still have the problem. Why we are not achieving quality, as you are saying.
Okay,
the materials that the teachers need to teach.
Sorry to cut in, Honorable. Given that it is a constitutional obligation for us to implement F-cube to the letter, why is it that a committee like yours in Parliament has not done anything about it?
Okay.
In fact, why haven't you done it for your people in Akachi?
Oh, no, okay, let me just call it. My constituency is Akachi North.
Akachi North.
Yes.
And, it's still Akachi.
No, yes. Akachi North is from Akachi South.
Thank you for the correction.
Yeah, but the issue is that as a member of Parliament, I can, on authority, tell you what I have done as far as education is concerned in my constituency. But this is not the time for it. What I'm trying to say is that...
No, but I'm asking, because if it's about a law, and you are a member of the legislature, you are also on the committee that tackles issues that have to do with education. Over the years, we have failed woefully. In fact, all three of us, none of us will take our children to public school, including you watching us. And so what is it that this committee has done to make sure that we are following what the Constitution says about F-cube to the letter in order to make public education as attractive as we have in the private sector? Yeah,
let me say that the Committee of Parliament is not an executive organ. We have a legislative function and an oversight responsibility as a committee.
And so if a law is being flouted, you come in.
If a law is being passed or is being flouted, we will look at it. As a committee, I can tell you in 2014, we taught this country to look at basic education.
And what became of that?
And we wrote a comprehensive report, which we gave to the Ministry of Education.
And what became of the report?
Nothing.
And you just sat there and watched them?
No, you see, you can only question why this is not being done, but you don't have the authority to go and implement. Do you see? So we say it always that these are the challenges we are facing in the basic education system. We took a basic education just out of the GES.
Okay, so having seen the problem, unfortunately, I need to cut short the conversation, but having seen the problem, again, how do we ensure that, and I'm hoping that you can give me a perspective from the legislator's point of view, how do we ensure that even when the legislator intervenes, like you did in 2014, we'll make sure that you know, our education sector is politics proof, that whatever we come up with is adhered to because our law says so. How can we do that in the future? Let me start with you, Honorable.
Yeah, what you can do is engaging the stakeholders in education or nationwide, not necessarily in education only. Those who have knowledge or who know something about education.
We have been doing that.
Yeah, but we have not been doing it much. Look at the information the minister gave us, that you're going to reduce it from secondary university from 4 years to 3 years. What stakeholder engagement have they done?
Well,
do you say it? We have not done it. So and so and so. So there is the need for a wider range of engagement then education of people that this is what we need to make our education move forward in this country.
Beyond consultation, you, the lawmakers, are helpless in the face of the law that says
we
that
are not helpless, but ours is to make the ministry aware that these are the concerns of the people. This is what we have discovered. It is for the ministry to correct and implement them.
That sounds weak in front before the executive, doesn't it? It sounds very weak before the executive, because if all you have to do is keep ensuring that, oh, you do it, and they never do it, and nothing seems to come out of it. Well, you don't change the law in any way.
The latest we can do is probably bring the minister to Parliament and answer questions. That is all.
Looks like we are headed for doom.
We don't have that responsibility to go and implement. We don't belong to the executive.
Then we can say that we are headed for disaster as far as our education sector is concerned.
If those of us in the legislature, we notice it and we inform the executive that is what you have to do, and you don't do it, then
King, you have the final word on this one.
Thank you very much. As I said earlier on, as a country, we are so interested in making a lot of pronouncements, sometimes without necessarily looking at the outcome of it. For example, and some when they make are good, some are debatable, some you can say absolutely uncalled for. For example, recently the Ghana Education Service issued this ban on corporal punishment, which for me, I am for it. I am for it because there was, where I went to school, the village that I went to school, there were some of my mates that stopped school because of the excessive beating that were given to them. But it has totally been misconstrued by some of my own colleague teachers, and they've decided that if that is the case, even if two pupils are killing themselves, we should allow them to kill themselves.
That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I have to go, King, unfortunately.
That is why there's the need for a larger stakeholder consultation before some of these pronouncements are made. That the diploma for the SHS thing.
We're being sung out on this subject. Thank you very much. King Ali is president for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, and Peter Nochu is MP for Akachi North, and he's also on the Education Committee in Parliament. We'll be right back.